Why do I think it's just not logical that we're on a spinning ball? Well, I'll tell you why. Because every single night I can look up, and I'll show you exactly where it is because I know the markings on these poles and the telephone lines from where I'm standing. So if you look up, every single night the North Star is going to be right in there. Now, why would that be happening if we're on a spinning ball? How could that be happening? Because I've lived in this house for 3 years. I look up in the sky every single night that it's clear, and I'm able to see this star in the same exact spot. Not only that, I'm able to see all the other stars spin around just beautifully, and I'm able to point them out. At least, like, I think I got like 15 to 20 now on my bank, which I don't think is a lot. It's easy to probably learn more than that, but I try and learn so many things, it's hard to stick with one topic. However, you can look up and see Vega and Arcturus and Deneb and all of these awesome stars, Polaris, obviously, and they're just exactly where they're supposed to be. So in my opinion, and this is the case for thousands of years, because there are ancient temples with all of the constellations right on the temples, on the walls of these temples. And again, the constellations, if you don't know this, are the stars. Okay, this is what we're talking about. The ancient people had taken the stars in the sky and drawn pictures with them and named them as all these characters. And throughout history, what you will see, because of the 12 zodiacal constellations, 13, whatever you want to call it, because now they're releasing the 13th one, but who knows? Because here's the thing too, there was one constellation before there was 2, before there was 8, before there was 10, before there was 12, okay? Because it took a long time for the ancient people to realize that, oh wait, like look at, this is what's going on. The sun does this, and the stars do this, and these other things that we call planets now, they can kind of do whatever they want. And they realized this over long periods of time. And again, started to build, you know, stories in the sky. And that is where you get all of your ideas for religion, is via the sky, okay? Now, your most ancient belief system, that goes back to day versus night, okay? Because in the ancient world, the demon, we'll call him, of the night was Set, and everyone was scared of Set. It was the ancient evil bad guy, you know, we'll call it the ancient evil archetype. And this archetype, again, name was Set. Why? Because the sun was the hero in the world. Now, this is even the case in the Roman Empire. The sun, Sol Invictus, is what they worshipped. It was their religion. And that in Latin is the sun is victorious. So they were always, the sun was the victor. Why? Because it brings life, earth, everything to this earth. It brings life. It brings plants and animals. And I mean, think about it. Think about the spring, okay? So what happens when the sun goes down? The sun sets. So at night, this Set became the evil one. It's a basic story of day versus night, really. And it goes back to storytelling. That's what this is all about. It all goes back to storytelling. So when you start to learn that, and you're going to learn that through reading and learning about other cultures and other mythologies and all of these other ideas, you're not going to learn it by just listening to one story or reading one book. How you know it's connected, again, is because when you read all of the other ideas, they're all the same. And then you start to realize, wait a minute, this is a story that we're talking about here. So if that's something that you're interested in, not a lot of people are interested in that. You can check my website out for that. But my point behind the whole video is if we're talking about a never-ending, expanding galaxy and we're spinning endlessly 500,000 miles an hour, 66,700 chasing the sun, going through the galaxy 500,000 miles an hour, never to return to the same spot, just going through a basically endless void of nothing, then how on earth are we able to look at the stars and the constellations and they're the same, and they have been for thousands of years? And don't tell me they haven't been, and don't tell me that they're different. They've changed over the years. They haven't. In other cultures, they have used different animals in their zodiacal signs because different animals exist in different places, period, end of story. And for people that say the North Star hasn't always been the North Star, it used to be Thuban. Well, listen, in 69 AD, when the North Star was discovered by Claudius Ptolemy, okay, let me tell you something. Number one, how do you discover a star that thousands of people have looked up and seen before then? So that's kind of silly. And number two, the science story is that in 69 AD, they named it the Pole Star, the North Star, Polaris, which would imply the pole being in the center point, the center pole. That's the whole idea of Polaris. Why would they name it that if they weren't able to use it as a pole star for another 1,000 years? That sounds pretty improbable to me, honestly. So, therefore, I believe Polaris has always been the same damn star, because you cannot prove it used to be Thuban, because for the last 100 years, it's been in the same spot. I'm sorry, but that's a silly argument. So when people say that, it just goes to show me that they have never really read anything. They just heard that from somebody once, and now they're repeating it, okay, because they think it's a smart, clever comeback. It's just not. It shows me that you just didn't do any research. You probably have no idea who Tycho Brahe is. You probably have no idea that half of what we are given is because certain men said, nope, I don't agree with that. Absolutely not. I will not say that. I will not put that on paper. And then there were other men that came along and said, you know, I'll say that. What are you paying me? Of course I'll say that. Sure. And they used those men instead in the history books. However, they give you little bits and little nuggets of the other guys, but they just don't tell you much about them. Now, why would they? So that's just, it's silly to me, the whole idea. It's not even a logical argument to have, because again, the North Star has been in the same spot for quite a while now. So yeah, it's silly. And all of the constellations, again, have been drawn on cave walls, pyramid walls, on temple walls for thousands of years now. The same constellations that we are seeing today. So I just find it completely ridiculous that we would be spinning endlessly through outer space. However, this is, of course, my opinion. I thought I was allowed to have an opinion as an American, living in America, born in America, but maybe I'm not allowed to have an opinion. I don't know. We'll let the video speak for itself. I love you all. You can find me at my website, withthesun33.com, and on all other platforms, withthesun33.